Hello, everyone. I just want to welcome y'all to the Lunch and Learn. Appreciate you coming today. Of course, I'm sure each and every one of you know the value of education and continuing in your personal growth and careers and stuff. Today, we're going to look at continuing that kind of education, and we've got Mr. Nathan Pilsner here today from Valdosta State, and he's going to talk with you a little bit about transfer opportunities that they provide to our students here. Nathan?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to be down here, so. How's everybody doing? Good? I'm doing all right, not too bad. I see we got a lot of back-sitters, all cool kids. What degree programs are you guys looking to finish up here? Are we doing diplomas, certificates, AAS degrees? Say let's go diplomas. Who's going for a diploma? Okay. All right, so what do we got here? We got a group that looks like cosmetology. What are you? Yeah, there we go. All right. Certificate students, we have certificate students? No? All right, and we have the AAS is going to be probably the rest of you guys, I imagine. So when you go to transfer from, once you finish up your degree program here, what you need to do is you need to start looking at your long-term goals. Where are you looking to end up in possibly, let's say, 7 years? Then we need to start matching your education backwards. All right, so if you're looking to possibly go into teaching or who knows, which field you may be interested in. Business, some students want to go into business, want to go into, go get a master's of business administration, programs like that. You look at there and you find these programs that are available that are going to help you reach your goals long term. Then you start working your way backwards to where you're at now. So if you're looking at possibly going into business and you think, a master of business administration would really be helpful for me long term, whether you're wanting to start your own beauty salon or get in and actually go run another business, then you find master's programs that are going to be available to you. Where do you want to move? What do you want to see? What do you want in a school? Then once you find that, then you match your bachelor's degree to that master's degree. This keeps you from having to do things over and over and over again. If you start with where you're at now and then move your way forward, typically what happens is you'll end up going into a program thinking I need this degree specifically, then I go get this degree specifically, and that took me 3.5 years, and then I end up doing another 2 years here. And then by the time you're all said and done, you would go, wow, if I knew then what I know now, I could have been done with this in 3 years and spent half the money. Now also another good point, or another important factor is to find a school that works with you and talk to them. Find an admissions counselor that works with transfer students. Get their cards, send them emails, send them unofficial transcripts, and make them work. Make them do your unofficial evals for you. Have them contact you or have you contact them when you're wanting to take classes to see if they are going to transfer. Don't just guess. If you're going to take some core classes and you think, hey, I want to take these core classes so I can transfer over to a 4-year school, have an admissions counselor look at them. Because there's a chance that you'll have too many courses for one section of the core and it ends up not counting. And then when you go to transfer, you find out, I didn't get what I thought I was going to get. Transfer sometimes can seem a little arduous, it seems a little bit complicated, but that's where the transfer admissions counselor really is going to be able to help. Go in, find the school that will contact you and that you're willing to go to and work with them. Work with them from this point all the way forward. That ensures that you're going to have the best scenario. For us, what we do is we have, for the technical college system students, we have an articulation where we can take 51 or more credit hours of your Associate of Applied Science towards a Bachelor of Science in Organizational Leadership or a Bachelor of Applied Science in Human Capital Performance. And for you business students, business marketing, finance, accounting students like that, we also have a Bachelor of Science in Office Administration Technology. That allows you to have about 2 years worth of transfer credit from your Associate of Applied Science towards a bachelor's degree. That'll let you finish up your bachelor's degree in about 2 years. Well, quite often I talk to students and they say, well, I don't necessarily want a degree in organizational leadership. I'm looking to get a business degree, which is fine. But if you look at the long-term goal side of things, it'll take you 2 years to finish that organizational leadership degree. You can meet the prerequisites for an MBA program, and then 2 years to finish an MBA program. That gives you 4 years and you're done with a master's degree. Now, if you find a business school in any of the university system of Georgia schools, as far as I know, you're going to end up with 15 to 18 credit hours of transfer from your Associate of Applied Science. That's going to leave you 3.5 years to finish that Bachelor's of Business Administration. So your choices are 3.5 years to get that Bachelor of Business Administration or 4 years to get the Master's of Business Administration. That's why I say get in contact with an advisor, with somebody that's willing to talk to you and work with them. In addition, look at your long-term goal. Don't necessarily focus solely on your short-term because sometimes that'll bite you in extra added time and money. The transfer process for most schools is pretty simple. What they do is you get a hold of an admissions counselor. You put in your application. A lot of schools now are doing free application days, so you may want to ask your counselor if they know if there's one coming up. So put in your application, bring in your transcripts, and then you're able to typically get accepted. There's also like little things that we have to do. We do a verification of lawful presence, which usually gets taken care of if you do a FAFSA degree or a FAFSA. And we also have a couple other, like an immunization, but that's only if you're going to be in seat. If you're going to be online, then they don't worry about that as well. Speaking of online, with our articulated degrees, they're all available online. So if you are in a situation where you have to stay here due to work, and you want to come over and you want to finish that bachelor's degree, we're able to bring that in, do that 51 credit hours or more. We're able to stay here if you want to do extra core classes, and I'll walk you through that. Then when we come over, they can be done online in an 8-week format where you do 2 classes in the first 8 weeks and then 2 classes in the second 8 weeks. And you're full-time for financial aid, but you never have to take over 2 classes at once. And for you that are actually working, that's a big deal because taking 4 classes, a 4-class load for full-time, can be a little much if you're working or have a family or a very needy dog, maybe. So once you've chosen your school, you really need to start looking at your cost scenario. I'm not a financial aid advisor, but looking at the cost, one of the hidden costs is how long it takes to do a degree. A great example of this is I work a lot up in North Georgia, and there's a school there that has a very good articulation set up with Piedmont, and Piedmont being a private school, it's more expensive. And they were telling me how they were going to go to a University System of Georgia school because it was about half the cost. And we sat down and did the numbers, and we found out, that University System school was half the cost, but you were spending twice the amount of time there. So it turned out, after fees and everything else, they actually would spend less going to Piedmont. I'm not shopping, I'm not trying to get you to go over to private schools, but just to look at the grand scheme of when you do think you want to transfer. Don't just look at necessarily the tuition and fees, look at the tuition and fees plus how long you're going to be there. If it's going to take you 4 years or 3.5 years to finish the degree program, consider that part of the cost, total cost, not just necessarily what you're going to be doing that specific semester. In addition to the actual 51 credit hours that come over for the articulation agreement, I want to tell you that one of the things we do is you can contact me and you can say, all right, I'm done with my Associate of Applied Science and I want to finish up my degree, my bachelor's degree. Is there any chance I can take classes here? And you can. I can work with you to close out. We have 42 credit hours of general education classes. 15 to 18 of those classes will be satisfied through your degree. And they'll come over, and then the rest of them we can get here. So I can go through and make sure that you can get advised here, and then I can look at them and make sure they're going to count towards there. And that really is going to substantially lower your cost. For us, if you're going to do online, it's $250 per credit hour. Now with you guys here, it's $89. So as you can see, that really lowers your cost to be able to get about 30 credit hours done here, more than what you would have to do with us. Let me think here. What other kind of interesting tidbits would you guys be interested in? I want to know. Did anybody have any questions at this point? Go ahead. I'm sorry, I'm half deaf. We do not have an aesthetics, but for a lot of this is where I will go. All right, the cosmetology students, for the diploma-seeking students, there are programs within the technical college system that will allow you to finish up an Associate of Applied Science, which I highly recommend. Get done with your cosmetology. There's a applied management technology is one of the programs. and it's usually about 8 classes, and it allows you to finish up an Associate of Applied Science, and then you can come in and do one of these other programs that's articulated. So we could do it that way, and then getting you towards that sort of having a better understanding of how to run an operation, which could be useful for you if you're going to be running a team or if you're going to be striking out on your own and starting your own business. So even with the diploma students, you're not stopped when you get done with your diploma. If you want to move forward, we can find ways to move forward. Sometimes it can be done, I've done things through the virtual technical college system of Georgia. That's a little bit of a messy process, but we can get through it. I've also done things where we're able to bring you in and actually take some of our core classes, and then we can apply that as an AES equivalent for our Bachelor of Applied Science in Human Capital Performance. So kind of the key here is to realize that if you do have goals outside of what you're finishing right here, right now, that finding someone that'll work with you and not getting kind of beat down with finding out, that, oh, I'm only going to get 18 credit hours of transfer. Moving forward, we can find ways to get you forward. If you're wanting to go into education, that's a great example of somebody who sometimes can feel a little frustrated because you come over, you get that 15 to 18 credit hours of transfer, and you start into an education program. It takes you 3.5 years. Where with this way, what we can do is we can bring you in, we can get degree completion, and a lot of your master's in education programs do not require a bachelor's degree in an education program. So then we can work on finishing up the degree program through organizational leadership or a degree like that, and then moving you forward with that master's. Anybody else have any other questions, concerns? Go ahead. What is pre-med? Pre-med is a made-up term for students that are going to eventually, hopefully, go to medical school. You're not pre-med until you're actually in medical school, and then you were pre-med. What it is, it's a biology degree. Now, they take courses in biology, chemistry, depends on which school you're wanting to go to as to which field you want. There are still some schools that want chemistry for some reason. There's some schools that want biology. It just depends on what medical school you're looking to do. It's a 4-year degree program, and they have courses specifically designed for students that are looking to go into medical school. It's the same way with pre-law and some of our other pre-occupational type programs. That's another one of those ones where we would look at possibly if you're coming with an Associate of Applied Science, you're going to get that 15 to 18 credit hours of transfer. Now we can bolster that with coming in, staying here and doing some core classes, maybe do 150% of your degree program, or possibly find another degree program that allow us to do more. Now that is a case, like for STEM field. People that are wanting to go into science, technology, engineering, mathematics, computer people, you guys really need to stay in field. So possibly going into one of these articulated degree programs isn't the fastest way to get where you want to go. In those cases, the fastest way to get where you want to go is to go find a bachelor's degree that is fit for your program. Are there any computer information people here? No? All right. Well, if you were here, there's a computer information system program that's in Kennesaw State. So there are a few other programs available for education students. There's Mercer that do the early childhood care. I believe they have another articulation as well. So there's articulations everywhere. There's an RN to BSN program for anybody that's thinking about going through nursing. Those are available. So there's a lot of these articulations, and this is where it comes into talking to your advisors here and counselors here and talking with us to make sure that they're meeting with what you're wanting to do. Any other questions? Come on, you got to have some questions at this point, I would assume. No?
So you're not trying to get us to go to Valdosta, you're just trying to get us to further our education?
Pretty much. I mean, you guys, here's the thing. All right. I started off pretty much the same way a lot of you guys started off. I was 30 years old. I went to school at a tech college. I moved from there. I went into Valdosta State University. I got my butt handed to me. I didn't know what I was doing. I battled through it. I went through, got my master's degree, and they hired me to come talk to you guys. They hired me because I've been through there and I've done this. If you come to us, great. I think we're a great deal. I think with the tuition, with the online options, with taking 51 credit hours, we're one of the better options for technical college students throughout the state. However, if you find another program that does better, that works towards your long-term goal, go for it. And I'll help you try to find it. The end result is you guys to get what you need, not necessarily for us to get what we need. We'll get what we need. And if we're not doing what we need to do to help you guys, then we can do that better. So if you guys are coming, decide, hey, we'll talk, and you'll say, I found this program at Georgia Southern that's doing real good. They're going to take care of me, and they're going to do this. Then I can look at that program and say, well, here's a way we can get better. So yeah, I'm one. Of course, I want you to come to school, VSU, but at the long range, what I'm looking at is what you guys can do to make yourselves happier, better off, and reach the goals that you want to do.
Most colleges are not like that. They're like, oh, we want you to come here, you're signing up right now, you can't leave unless you sign up.
No. There's none of that. That's counterproductive for the school and the student, because it puts you into a position where you're being forced into trying to do something that isn't necessarily what you want to do under a timeline that's set by somebody else. And how's that going to benefit you? And then if it doesn't benefit you, you're only going to be able to be moderately successful at that school. And then if you're not totally successful, you're not graduating, you're not even helping the school. So that's a pretty poor way to go about doing something. But
That's how I got ready for my first certificate.
well, I'm sorry to hear that. If there's anything I can do, my cards are on the table. I'll be there to help. Yeah. Well, that'll happen. That's another thing to keep in mind about transferring. If you do grade forgiveness, so if you're in a program and you're thinking, like, for instance, to go into nursing, and you flub biology, and then you go, okay, well, you go in and take biology again. Time number 3, third time's a charm, and you finally get that C. When you go to transfer, those 2 F's are coming with you. So when you're looking at a cumulative GPA, it's going to include all those classes. If you do decide to do grade forgiveness, that'll be included in your cumulative GPA for when you go to transfer, which may put you in a situation where you end up having to do an admissions appeal. So keep that in mind when you're kind of planning out long term about what you're doing now and how it's going to affect what you're doing later on. So anybody have anything? Any other questions, concerns? Go ahead. Yeah, our RN to BSN program, it's not an ASN, it's RN. So once you get your RN license, it's an RN to BSN. It takes 1 year. It's all online. You do a 5-week class, and then you do a 1 week off. You do a 5-week class, 1 week off, starts in January, ends in December, all online. The degree programs that are articulated are all online. So the Bachelor of Science in Organizational Leadership, the Bachelor of Applied Science in Human Capital Performance, and the Bachelor of Science in Office Administration Technology are all online. Now, the applied business, I've heard it so many, I've heard different terms for this. School I was at this week, they have one it's in 8 classes that you take after your diploma to finish up an Associate of Applied Science. That's not necessarily online. Some of those classes are going to be online. It's just working with trying to find out how to, that's where the virtual technical college system of Georgia comes in to try to get those classes. But I think we have something here that might be akin to that. I'm not sure how many classes are required, but I'll certainly work with, talking to advisors to find out for you. Did that kind of answer it, or? Okay. Does anybody else have any questions, or is it all just about time to eat? No? All right, well, I'm going to hang around and be able to answer individual questions because I'm sure you guys are going to have them. And if you're not, you're going to have them tomorrow or the next day, in which case, grab my cards. But I'm going to stay around. You can answer questions if you want. I appreciate your time. Thank you.